Aloha, and welcome to A Course in Miracles, Workbook for Students. This is Lesson 167. There is one life, and that I share with God. One life, and that life is God, and that life is my life now. There are not different kinds of life. For life is like the truth. It does not have degrees. It is the one condition in which all that God created share. Like all his thoughts, it has no opposite. There is no death because what God created shares his life. There is no death because an opposite to God does not exist. I love this. There is no death because the Father and the Son are one. In this world, there appears to be a state that is life's opposite. You call it death. Yet we have learned that the idea of death takes many forms. It is the one idea which underlies all feelings that are not supremely happy. Supremely happy. It's the alarm to which you give response of any kind that is not perfect joy. All sorrow, loss, anxiety, suffering, and pain, even a little sigh of weariness, a slight discomfort, the merest frown, acknowledges death and thus denies that you live. You think the death is of the body, yet it's but an idea, irrelevant to what is seen as physical. A thought is in the mind. It can be then applied in the mind as the mind directs it. But its origin is where it must be changed, in the mind. That's where it has to be changed. If change is going to occur. And that's what this course is working. That's why it's a mind training course. It goes to the source. That's the only place that you can truly change anything, is at the cause, at the source, in the mind. You think that death is in the body, yet it's but an idea, irrelevant to what's seen physical, a thought in the mind. It can be then applied as the mind directs it, but its origin is where it must be changed. Change occurs. Ideas leave not their source. The emphasis this course is placed on that idea is due to its centrality in our attempts to change your mind, my mind, about yourself. The emphasis this course is placed on the idea that ideas leave not their source is because of its centrality in the attempts of the course to change our mind about ourselves. Because God, we are ideas in the mind of God, and we haven't left the mind of God. We haven't become separated from the mind of God or changed in any way. It's impossible. Its ideas leave not their source. The emphasis, okay, it is the cause, this idea is the cause of healing. It is the reason that you can heal. It is why you cannot die. You haven't left. If you could die, part of God would die. Its truth establishes you as one with God. You have not left your source. Death is the thought that you are separate from your Creator. It's the belief conditions change, emotions alternate because of causes you cannot control, you did not make, and you can never change. It is the fixed belief that ideas can leave their source and then take on qualities that the source does not contain, like hate and ugliness and war, becoming different from their own origin. They believe that's possible. Apart from it in kind as well as distance, time, and form. Death is the belief that these things have happened and that they're possible. Death cannot come from life. Ideas remain united to their source. They can extend all that all that their source contains. In that they can go far beyond themselves. Thoughts can go far beyond themselves. But they cannot give birth to what was never given them. That's why this world is not real. Nothing can be born. It's impossible that we are love and that we could be creating hate. That's impossible. We can't create something that we were never given. But they cannot give birth to what was never given them. As they are made, so will their making be. As they were born, so will they then give birth. So it's like all nature creates like itself. We couldn't become creatures unlike God. Neither could we create creatures unlike ourselves. As they were born, so will they then give birth, and where they come from, there will they return. The mind can think it sleeps, but that's all. It cannot change what is its waking state. Our waking state is the Son of God. We can't change that. It cannot make a body, nor abide within a body. What is alien to the mind does not exist because it has no source. For mind creates all things that are and cannot give them attributes that it lacks, nor change its own eternal mindful state. It cannot make the physical. What seems to die is but the sign of a mind asleep. The opposite of life can only be another form of life. As such, it can be reconciled with what created it because it is not opposite in the truth. Its form may change. It may appear to be what it is not. Yet mind is mind, awake or sleeping. It is not its opposite in anything created, not in what it seems to make when it believes that it is sleeping, like what we're experiencing right now. God creates only mind awake. He does not sleep. And his creations cannot share what he gives not, nor make conditions which he does not share with them. The thought of death is not the opposite to thoughts of life, forever unopposed by opposites of any kind. The thoughts of God remain forever changeless, with the power to extend forever changelessly, but yet within themselves, for they are everywhere. What seems to be the opposite of life is merely sleeping. Jesus used to say, he said, Lazarus was sleeping. And this is what he was talking about here. What seems to be the opposite of death is merely sleeping. When the mind elects to be what it is not, and to assume an alien power which it does not have, a foreign state it cannot enter, or a false condition not within its source, it merely seems to go to sleep a while. It dreams of time, an interval in which what seems to happen never has occurred. The changes wrought are substanceless, and all events are nowhere. So that's what's happening now. All this is really happening in nowhere. A sleeping mind. What seems to be the opposite of life is merely sleeping. When the mind elects to be what it is not and to assume an alien power it doesn't have, a foreign state it cannot enter, or a false condition not within its source, it merely seems to go to sleep a while. That's what is happening to us now. It dreams of time, an interval in which what seems to have happened never had occurred. The changes wrought are substanceless, and all events are nowhere. That's why we can forgive, because they're nowhere. These things aren't really happening, even though they seem very real to us. When the mind awakes, it but continues as it was. Perfect. Let us today be children of the truth and not deny our holy heritage. Our life is not as we imagine it. Who changes life because he shuts his eyes, or makes himself what he is not because he sleeps, and seems in dreams an opposite to what he is? We will not ask for death in any form today. Nor will we let imagined opposites to life abide even an instant where the thought of life eternal has been set by God himself. His holy name we strive to keep today as he established it and wills it be forever and forever. He is Lord of what we think today. And in his thoughts, which have no opposite, we understand there is one life. We are his thoughts, and there is one life. And that we share with him and with all creation, and with their thoughts as well, whom he created in a unity of life that cannot be separated in death, and leave the source of life from where it came. It's impossible. It can't happen. We share one life because we have one source, a source from which perfection comes to us, remaining always in the holy mind which he created perfect. As we were, so are we now, and will forever be. A sleeping mind must waken as it sees its own perfection mirroring the Lord of life so perfectly, it fades into what is reflected there. Like heaven becomes so much like earth that we're not afraid of it anymore. Or earth becomes so much like heaven that we're not afraid of heaven anymore. And we can just wake up. And now it is no more a reflection. It becomes the thing reflected. And the light which makes reflection possible. No vision now is needed, for the weakened mind is one that knows its source, its self, its holiness. So that's our thoughts for today. There is this one life, and that life I share with God. So we're going to spend time, at least once an hour, just remembering these thoughts throughout the day today. There is one life, one life. That life is God, and that life doesn't have an opposite, and I share it with God. So that's our lesson for today. Thank you for spending this time with me, and I look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Aloha.